Hi, I'm Yaakov Horowitz, and this video is intended to give you some tips about speaking to your children regarding stranger danger. And though the vast overwhelming majority of abuse cases take place with people the children know, or in their inner circle, so to speak, there are certainly cases of stranger danger and, God forbid, abduction of children. And in Lakewood, New Jersey, there have been some attempted abductions as of late, and there certainly is heightened anxiety there. So, just some tips. I'll start with some pointers that the chief of police of Lakewood sent out recently with just some common sense advice to parents. See that your children are supervised, especially younger children. Just make sure that there's an adult within sight of children. Older children that are walking, see to it that they don't take any shortcuts. They walk in well-lit areas, and they walk in groups. I once did a talk on child safety in Alpine, New Jersey, together with the chief of police, and he offered two fascinating pieces of advice that I thought were very enlightening, and maybe hopefully you'll find it as well. He said that tell children that if they're being followed by anyone or they're uncomfortable by an adult that's following them, instead of running away, they should cross the street and reverse direction, or if they're in a mall, just turn around and run the other way, because it will be much more noticeable if other passersby or people in the mall will notice that an adult went the other way to follow a child. And if, God forbid, the adult gets closer to the child and the child is more concerned, he suggested that the child be trained to yell, "This is not my father." Because nowadays when we see a child crying in the street or carrying on with a parent next to them, we tend to turn away because we've been in that situation recently, and we, like, out of sympathy, we turn away. So by announcing that this is not my parent and not no relative of mine, help, and that's really the message. Teach your children to get out of the situation and to yell at the top of their lungs. That's really what's going to frighten someone away who would, God forbid, want to abduct the child. The very good news is that this education really does work, and speaking to your children is extremely helpful. We had a similar rash of attempted abductions in our hometown of Muncie, and campaigns like this, where parents were sent emails and encouraged to speak to their children about it, it really did help. And every single child that was involved in a situation like that over the next few weeks knew exactly what to do. They yelled, they ran away, they went to their parents, informed their parents, who called the police. I did get a very clear psak, a halachic ruling from Rabbi David Cohen Shlita, that preferably with a shinoi, but we must call the police immediately on Shabbos if something does take place on Shabbos, as it poses a clear danger to our children. And a similar psak was issued by Rav Forsheimer of Lakewood, New Jersey. And one final thought: this is the beginning of a conversation that should take place. Add your own thoughts. Feel free to, but don't frighten the children. It really, when we overly frighten the children, they should be aware. A moderate amount of anxiety is okay, but when we overly frighten the children, research shows that they don't remember the messages we tell them, and it really doesn't help them much. They tend to freeze rather than feeling empowered that they know what to do in the event that something happens. I got a call a few years ago from a father in Borough Park, a Hasidic fellow, who had read our book to his children and was talking to them about child safety. And he told his boys that if you're ever in shul and you're in an uncomfortable situation, he gave them all watches, actually, and he said, look at your watch and say in Yiddish, "My father's coming to meet me now." And he called me to tell me that his child was in a situation like that and knew exactly what to do, very calmly looked at his watch. His father was nowhere near, but he said, "My father's coming now," and the guy scooted off. And thankfully, he was reported to the police, and he was arrested for having abused other children in that same shul. So this stuff really does work. Feel empowered. Certainly be anxious and be aware and heighten your supervision of your children. But your message to your children is that they should feel empowered to be able to take proper and defensive behavior in case, chas v'shalom, something happens to them. Have a wonderful Shabbos, and hope you found this helpful.